In January 1832, a wooden ship left the frozen docks of Salem, Massachusetts, carrying a cargo that everyone deemed pure madness: 300 tons of frozen river ice. The goal: to sail into the scorching heat of the tropics without the ice melting. But 2 months later, a monstrous typhoon wiped the ship off the map, crashing it into a remote, uncharted island in the South Pacific. When the tattooed warriors of the island surrounded the shipwrecked captain, he didn't run. Instead, he showed them a block of frozen New England winter. To a people who had never experienced cold, this mysterious substance didn't just amaze them, it terrified them. They called it the White Fire, and the ordinary American captain who controlled it. They bowed to him as a living god. This is the... When the tattooed warriors of the island surrounded the shipwrecked captain, he didn't run. Instead, he showed them a block of frozen New England winter. To a people who had never experienced cold, this mysterious substance didn't just amaze them, it terrified them. They called it the White Fire, and the ordinary American captain who controlled it. They bowed to him as a living god. This is the unbelievable true story of Captain Benjamin Vance, the man who accidentally became a deity in the Pacific. To understand this bizarre twist of history, we must understand the year 1832. At the time, the global trade of New England was changing. A wealthy eccentric from Boston named Frederick Tudor, mocked by newspapers as the Ice King, had a wild idea. He realized that people in the hottest parts of the world would pay a fortune for cold. Captain Benjamin Vance, a practical, stern man from Salem, took the ultimate gamble. He loaded his 3-masted merchant brig, the Zephyr, with blocks of ice harvested from the frozen Kennebec River. The ice was packed deeply in pine sawdust and straw to keep it from melting. To the crew, it felt like sailing in a floating tomb. If the ice melted, the shifting water would flip the ship. If the wet sawdust caught fire from spontaneous combustion, they would burn alive in the middle of the Atlantic. For weeks, the Zephyr battled ferocious storms. They rounded the treacherous Cape Horn, entering the unpredictable expanse of the Pacific Ocean. Their destination was Sydney, Australia, but the Pacific had other plans. Somewhere west of the Pitcairn Islands, a massive, unseasonal typhoon caught the Zephyr. A mountain of black water smashed the ship against a hidden coral reef. As the ocean water rushed into the hold, it met the massive sub-zero ice. The sudden temperature crash released a terrifying explosion of dense fog and white steam, swallowing the dying ship. When Captain Benjamin Vance dragged himself onto the beach the next morning, he was entirely alone. The ship was gone, but washed up next to him on the black sand was a miracle, a massive block of ice protected by a thick crust of wet sawdust. Suddenly the jungle parted. A dozen Matai warriors stepped out, armed with razor-sharp obsidian spears. Their bodies were covered in dark, swirling war tattoos. They looked at the white man. Spears raised, ready to strike. Acting on pure survival instinct, Benjamin pointed at the glittering block of ice. The chief of the tribe stepped forward and touched the mysterious crystal. Instantly, he recoiled with a scream. His fingers felt a burning sensation unlike anything in his universe, the bite of absolute zero. Then Benjamin did something legendary. He calmly walked to the ice, placed his bare palm flat against it, and looked directly into the chief's eyes without showing any pain. To the warriors, this was supreme sorcery. This pale spirit could command a stone of solid, freezing light, a material that burned like fire but left no ash, and wept water without disappearing. The entire tribe fell to their knees, pressing their foreheads into the sand. Benjamin Vance was no longer a shipwrecked sailor, he was a god. The Matai tribe carried the remaining ice into a deep, shaded volcanic cave, guarding it night and day. They called it Sinuvula, the White Fire. Benjamin quickly realized he was a god on a timer. The ice was melting, and when it disappeared, so would his divinity. At the same time, the Matai were facing an existential threat from a rival mountain. Tribe the Nakoni, Chief Tanoa came to Benjamin, begging the ice god for a sign of victory. Benjamin knew he had to act. He went into the cave, chipped off small shards of clear ice, and placed them into the hands of the warriors. He then took a small magnifying glass from his pocket, caught the light of the fire and ignited dry coconut fibers instantly. The warriors were hypnotized. They were now armed with the psychological power of the ice god. The next morning, the Matai marched into the mountains. The enemy warriors, having heard rumors of a white spirit who commanded a freezing stone that could freeze a man's blood, panicked. When the Matai charged, the rival tribe broke and fled in terror. The victory was absolute. Benjamin was officially crowned Tuibukulili, the king of cold fire. For 2 years, he ruled with wisdom, helping the tribe double their crop yields using New England farming techniques. Yet the guilt was eating him alive. The ice had completely melted. He was living a lie, trapped in a paradise of his own creation. In the summer of 1834, a white sail appeared on the horizon. It was an American whaling ship. Benjamin knew this was his only chance to return to reality. As he prepared to leave, the island exploded into mourning. The warriors dropped their weapons and the women wailed on the beach, begging their god not to abandon them. Benjamin turned to Chief Tanoa and whispered in the tribal language, "I will always be with you. Every time the rain falls cool upon your face, or the mountain wind blows cold at night, that is my spirit watching over you." Benjamin returned to Salem, Massachusetts. He went back to his quiet life as a merchant, but he was forever changed. He kept his study freezing cold, even in the dead of winter. And on his desk, he kept a beautifully carved tropical wooden bowl, filled not with gold, but with fresh blocks of New England ice. Before his death in 1868, a historian asked him if the natives understood the concept of God. Benjamin looked at the ice melting in his bowl and replied, "They understood perfectly. They knew that God is something beautiful, powerful, and terrifying. That comes into your life out of nowhere, changes your world, and then, before you can fully grasp it, melts away into nothing but a memory." History is full of secrets buried deep in the dark. If you want to uncover more unbelievable, forgotten stories like this, welcome to the History Abyss. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and dive deeper into the past with us. Until next time, keep exploring.